Sometimes all you gotta do is listen, and they will tell you the whole score. The Trump effect. All you gotta do is listen. Open your ears. How do they feel about America? What makes America great? Can we make America great again, or will we have to make America indigenous again? Open your ears and listen. Do they feel that you are natural, and what do they feel about nature? Is America natural? Well, when you research the 1828 definition of American and you get copper color races found here, then yes, according to the 1828 Webster Dictionary, American is a term applied to the Aboriginals or indigenous people, the copper color races found here by the Europeans. So that version of American, at least as long as the 1828 Webster Dictionary has to say about it, that is a natural America, right? These are the copper color races that are found here naturally. But those that call themselves Jewish, what do they feel about America? When we research that our demise in a large portion was funded and financed, when you research the names of the people behind this thing, the money that was financed, who was the financiers of this thing? Where does it go back to? And do they feel that this place is natural?
In our country. And so this is the fight that we wage against ourselves and each other, because America is not natural. Natural is tribal. We're fighting against thousands. This is the fight that we wage against ourselves and each other, because America is not natural. Natural is tribal. We're fighting against thousands of years of human behavior and history to create something that no one's ever... That's what's exceptional about America, and that's what's... Like, this ain't easy. It's an incredible thing.
An incredible thing. You heard exceptional. You heard incredible. You hear exceptional. You heard incredible. This is an exceptional thing. America is not natural to the invader. How can the invader have eyes to see? They know that natural is tribal. They consider the creator a natural tribal god. So they lie and they tell you that your tribe doesn't exist, or it doesn't matter, or it's done away with and your laws are gone. And they give you a version of America that is not tribal. So what happened to the tribes? Man, I just got this Horace Butler book, man. Love to the brother Horace Butler, man. And, you know, I ain't going to focus on what I don't agree with. I'm just going to focus on all the drop. You know what I mean? Because that's what we got to do more and more to, connect our resources. But I'll just read this little bit of drop. I'm not even going to get into the cocaine mummies in Egypt and the cocaine. As you know, that's some old powder, the cocoa plant. But how this substance is found in the mummified bodies and the whole mummies in Egypt, even the pharaohs, and this cocaine, this substance is being traced back to South America. So how did this South American cocaine get in the mummified bodies of the pharaohs in Egypt? And where is Atlantis, and where are they coming from? And that's what, that'll be my only, That'll be my only perspective, where I would, get on this Horace Butler book, is that the only perspective is Egypt. Everything's coming from Africa, even though Atlantis is here. But let's stay on this Trump, because all this energy, all this hijack, and if Atlantis is here, what was here before that, all this hijack. So when we get into this Jerusalem conversation, when we get into Egypt being in the Americas, as clearly broken down by Horace Butler, this is page 17, chapter 3, a storm over Egypt. And yeah, I'm going to be getting in this. I just want to give y'all a little, beginning excitement. Page 17, it was the presence of ancient Egypt's Jerusalem, he calls it. Ancient Egypt's Jerusalem. So that's a good starting point to say, well, it must be ancient Egypt's Jerusalem. It can't be Jerusalem. It has to be out of Egypt. This has to be the starting point or the starting place. But where is the foundation that the copper-colored people are from here, originating here? And when that happens, when you have Egypt and you have them stemming from Atlantis, and when you have the Atlantean records and Thoth's emerald tablets breaking down how they hijacked indigenous women and set up Atlas and his, Canaanite woman that he steals and takes, and he rapes this teenager and has babies with a teenager that he rapes, this Atlas, where we're getting Atlantis. See, all this is relevant to the Trump effect. Then Peru and Uru and Juru. We're just talking about a place of peace, but let's keep going. It was the presence of ancient Egypt's Jerusalem in the Americas that kept scholars quiet and preachers fearful, that I showed them the old maps and the ancient writings and the forbidden histories. There were others who knew the forbidden histories. Even Christopher Columbus knew these secrets. He wrote that South America's Orinoco River flowed out of paradise. Again, page 17, Horace Butler writes, there were others who knew the forbidden histories. Even Christopher Columbus knew these secrets. He wrote that South America's Orinoco, Orinoco River, look it up, Orinoco River flowed out of paradise, where Adam and Eve had lived. So Christopher Columbus, according to the records of this Horace Butler, he knew these forbidden histories, he knew your history, and he knew that the Orinoco River in South America, Orinoco, flowed out of paradise, where Adam and Eve had lived. And he says, I was stunned to see that Columbus had promised he would recapture Jerusalem. Again, Horace Butler writes, I was stunned to see that Columbus had promised that he would recapture Jerusalem when he reached the Americas. This is Horace Butler. This is a researcher. He might see it all through Egypt. We might see Egypt as a Atlantean or post-Atlantean hijack on a land that was always a people's land, an indigenous people, prior to the hijack of Egypt, prior to pyramids, when we had sacred trees. I'm talking Avatar. I'm talking indigenous trees cut down. You've been given pyramids. You've been given 440 hertz in the king's chamber. Literally a separate grid. This is where they get their hijacks and their Christos and their Brahmas and everything else that is the celestial situation below the firmament. And yes, it is important to the Trump effect. It's important to what John Stewart is saying when he says America is not natural. Because to Atlantis, America is not natural. They're just hijacking it. To Egypt, America is not natural. That's why Horace Butler's calling it Egypt's Jerusalem. Everybody must conquer this Jerusalem. But did Egypt invent Jerusalem? Where in Egypt's records do they show them getting down with the Most High and the commandments? So we're going to skip over the Israelites. It's just Egypt. We're going to skip over Jerusalem. It's just Egypt. You know, I'm not going to focus on it, but you see where I'm getting at. So what does he write? There were others who knew the forbidden histories. Even Christopher Columbus knew these secrets. He wrote that South America's Orinoco River flowed out of paradise where Adam and Eve had lived. So we had separate records pertaining to Eden being here, the river Euphrates being in America. Separate joints. You check them out. You do the research. You go back and get that drop. You click those links. You go to the library. You get it. It's all there. So he's saying where Adam and Eve had lived, this Orinoco River coming out of South America, all right, that flowed out of paradise. I was stunned to see that Columbus had promised he would recapture Jerusalem in the Americas. When he reached the Americas, Columbus would recapture Jerusalem. We got that. And another source, it's in the library. You click on it below. It's all around. You go get it if you want it. And that's coming out the Biblioteca de Colombina in Sevilla, Spain, when Columbus is saying, I'm going to America to recapture the Holy City in Mount Zion. Subjugating the people of the Indies, just like the dumb Diversas 1452 Papal Bull. But then we got Moorish treaties, decades before that, signed by Zelia SL. Under her name says Moabite. And she's signing a treaty. And then, what? Right after that comes the dumb Diversas. So, what does this have to do with the Trump effect? What does this have to do with America? If we're reading that Columbus is coming here to recapture Jerusalem when he reaches the Americas, then who does he have to take down? Tribes. Who must be defeated? Tribes. Who are you, so-called Negro? Tribes. Which tribes? Jerusalem. What did they capture? Jerusalem. What was the point? Why did Columbus bring a Hebrew interpreter named Torres, a convert? Because he heard that the great Khan was here across the river from Prester John? The Israelite king? Across the river from Prester John? And now you hear it and you see it in their eyes that you and us are no more. So America is no longer natural. Because natural means tribes.
And so this is the fight that we wage against ourselves and each other, because America is not natural. Natural is tribal. We're fighting against thousands of years of human behavior and history to create something that no one's ever... That's what's exceptional about America, and that's what's... Like, this ain't easy. It's an incredible thing. And so this is the fight that we wage against ourselves and each other, because America is not natural. Natural is tribal. We're fighting against thousands of years of human behavior and history to create something that no one's ever...
We're fighting against thousands of years of history, of natural behavior to create something. To create something artificial. America's artificial. Look it in his eyes. That's what he's saying. Natural means tribal. And as a Jewish person, you would think that would mean something, this tribalness, but he's not claiming a tribe. He's claiming an identity, but whose identity? Natural means tribal. Columbus came to America to seize the holy city, to capture Jerusalem, to capture the tribes. Who was Prester John? It was a recent takedown, and now they created something new, something artificial, something not natural.
Is also real in our country. And so this is the fight that we wage against ourselves and each other, because America is not natural. Natural is tribal. We're fighting against thousands of years of human behavior and history to create something that no one's ever,
to create something no one's ever done, right? Thousands of years of history and behavior? Whose history and behavior are you fighting against? He said we are fighting against thousands of years of tribal, of natural history behavior. One more time, so you think I am not losing my gourd.
Fight that we wage against ourselves and each other, because America is not natural.
Listen.
Natural is tribal. We're fighting against thousands of years of human behavior and history to create something that no one's ever,
of human behavior and history. Whose human behavior and history are they fighting against? You keep hearing it. I know it's unbelievable, but you are hearing it and seeing things more clearly than you ever have. And he's just talking the same shit he's been talking. And I used to, man, you know what I mean? Out of all these politicians and stuff, he seemed like he was keeping it real. So I'd be like, all right, cool, man, let me put on this Jon Stewart. It's funny, but when it comes down to the nitty gritty of America, everybody wants corporate, you know what I'm saying? Everyone wants to see it through the corporation, everyone who's benefiting from the corporation, because once they get tribal, they got to get off your land. I mean, that's just point blank, period. Once you are a tribe, you have a land. And they're like, well, okay, well, clearly I'm an invader. No shit. So how do you make an invader feel at home? How does an invader make themselves feel at home? They're going to make believe this has nothing to do with nature. They're going to do everything unnatural. They're going to fuck everything up the same way they did in the place they came from. They left the Black Plague and disease and brought disease and, you know, use it as a weapon on purpose. Biological, chemical warfare. Look it up. Look up the smallpox in the blanket. Look up how they took out our chiefs with poison. Which poisons? Which sorcery? Which sorcery says that America is not natural? That the copper color races found here by Columbus is not natural? I just had it up. Man, we gotta do it like it's the first time. Because to somebody out there that's just surfing the wave, it is the first time. And we'll get into this Nestor. You're going to keep seeing Nestorian pop up when it comes to Prester John. Nestorian does not mean Christian. Nestorian means old king, renowned for wise counsel. A wise king, Prester John. Now, what are we talking about? American. America's not natural. So we'll just look at the definition of American. Now, this is from the etymologies. I love this. Etymology. And then we're going to get out the Webster dictionary. So let's go. American, 1570s, 1590s adjective. Latin Americanus, from America. Originally in reference to what now are called Native Americans. So originally it was in reference to the indigenous people is what they're trying to say, right? So the term America was in reference, not that we called ourselves that before they pulled up in their ships to invade us on our land, but the term America was in reference to us, the natives here, the indigenous people. The sense of resident of North America, of European. All right, so now we got the hijack. Here we go. The sense of resident of North America of European, originally British descent is first recorded in the 1640s, yo. Then the 1765, yo. Is that why in the 1828 Webster Dictionary it says, one more time, in reference to what now are called Native Americans, but we know indigenous, the sense of resident. So when you think of it in terms of a resident of North America of European descent or British descent, see, that was just first recorded in the 1640s. So before that, America referred to what? What does it say in the 1828 Webster Dictionary? 1828 Webster Dictionary. American, Ame'rican, pertaining to America, American. A native of America, all right. Originally applied to the Aboriginals. The Aboriginals. Gotta do it like it's our first time, my people. Spelling shit all kinds of ways. Here we go. Alabama. Aboriginal. Hey. Spelling's harder than y'all think, man. I mean, you know, I don't know if y'all tried it lately, but some shit. Aboriginal, right? So we're gonna break this all the way down. Just take our time with it. No rush, no rush. Calm down. Everybody relax. I love y'all. American. A native of America. Now, let's just get it from here. American. 1570s, 1590s. America, originally in reference to what are now called Native Americans. The sense of resident of North America of European, originally British descent is first recorded in 1640s as an adjective, and then 1765 as a noun. Now we skip ahead to 1828. We have American in the Webster Dictionary as a native of America originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper color races found here, Negro, by the Europeans, Negro, so-called black people. Copper-colored races found here. You were invaded by Europeans at some point in time, my copper-colored race friends. You were invaded and you were found here. And it's all right in front of you in the Webster Dictionary, 1828, man. Huh? It's all right in front of you because you were called this before. Now someone else is called that. You're called black or African American. Thanks to Jesse Jackson in the 1970s and the movies like Roots, giving you images of coming off of slave ships when they just found you here. Found here, copper color race, a native. The Aboriginals. Aboriginals. Huh. Why did the Alabama senator call black people Aboriginals?
When I was reading to prepare for this interview, I was quite surprised.
Let go.
To see you use the word Aborigines talking about African Americans.
You know, I've dealt with that issue. I've already, talked publicly about that. And my purpose here today is to say that I'm very sorry, and I apologize.
He's doing a public apology just for calling you who you are, the Aboriginal. Is he apologizing to you or to his, conspirators, his homies, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm saying. This shit ain't easy. It ain't easy being Beezy. Scott Beeson, Senator. Scott Beeson. Son of a Beeson. Son of a beast. Scott Beeson. He called you an Aboriginal and is now making a public apology Say, man, I'm sorry for degrading y'all. I should have called y'all African, because then y'all wouldn't have no land rights here. But instead, I called you an Aboriginal, which gives you all the land rights here. And now you can claim yourself as a prisoner of war via the dumb Diversas 1452. Papal, you are a prisoner of war. You can be offered asylum in any country because you are a prisoner of war based on the dumb Diversas 1452. You, the people of the Indies that were subjugated into perpetual servitude. Click the link below. Scott Beasy called you an Aboriginal and is apologizing.
Anyone whose feelings were hurt by my comment. I've made very, very clear I don't know where that comment comes from.
Well, from your subconscious.
Well,
From your
guess.
subconscious. I don't know where this shit came from, man. I know we got this before, but we got to get it like it's the first time. Because you get repeated on all day by McDonald's and shit. They repeat on you. They interrupt the shit out of you all day long. So you came here for the interruption. I'm going to interrupt the shit out of Beezy. And then we're going to repeasy until we get it, man. Until we get it, man. Repetition, 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 repetition. Repetition. Why is this nigga tripping?
Prepare for this interview, I was quite surprised to see you use the word Aborigines talking about African Americans.
You know, I've dealt with that issue. I've already, talked publicly about that. And my purpose here today is to say that I'm very sorry, and I apologize to anyone whose feelings were hurt by my comment. I've made very, very clear I don't know where that comment comes from.
Well, from your subconscious.
Well, I guess. I mean, it's not even a normal thing anyone would say, even if you...
It's not a normal thing to call the indigenous people indigenous, or to slip up when you're lying and telling them that they came from Africa.
Made very, very clear I don't know where that comment comes from.
Well, from your subconscious.
Well, I guess. I mean, it's not even a normal thing anyone would say, even if you meant something in a negative fashion. I don't know if you would pull that out. But for me personally, you can't just close down camp and stop trying to do the things that you think are right. Just because somebody, you may give them an unfortunate bit of ammunition, you still got to continue to fight on and do what's best for the state in the long run. And
but
frankly, it's going to give me the opportunity to talk about things that I may never been able to talk about before.
You mean the bill?
Or the bill, or talk about race relations issues.
This is a normal talking point. Every time a white person says something racist in public and makes a public apology, they say that this is now an opportunity for them to talk about shit that they never talked about before. Like race relations. Now, because they have been, thrown out. Now, he's comparing you, calling you an Aboriginal. He didn't say nigger. He didn't say these niggers. You niggers. He didn't even go close to that. He called you an Aboriginal. And they're making you feel offended. You see how they're spinning this? They're making you feel offended. As if that's a dirty word to be indigenous to this country. The copper-colored races. With all the land and all the gold. The buildings, the structures. The inheritance. The inheritance, you see, is really about your inheritance. So they take your heritage. They call you Aboriginals and then they say sorry for shaming you.
Things like that. I mean, I have a freedom that a lot of people don't have because of that.
Because you used the word Aboriginal.
Because I've been through the fire, and I can talk to people, I can relate to people, I can let them know what kind of person I am, and we can talk about things that sometimes have been, a little bit taboo.
So because it allowed you to reach audiences you might not otherwise have reached, do you not regret saying it?
I think it gives me some opportunities. I went and spoke to a group in the city of Birmingham. It was a city councilwoman's community meeting, probably 95% African American, and because of things that I regret, offhand remark I should not have made,
using the word Aboriginal.
I regret it. Why do you regret using the word Aboriginal? Even he's like, man, I'm gonna jam you up because you sound fucking silly. Because you used the word Aboriginals, you regret it.
Right, offhand remark I should not have made.
Which you don't want to say.
Yeah, I know better.
I know better.
But what it allowed me to do, They actually listened to what I said, probably more than they would have anybody else, because they want to
All right, y'all catch the rest of that shit, man. Y'all catch the rest of that shit. All right. A noun of America. American, 1828, originally applied to the Aboriginals. He just called Black Americans and apologized for it, Aboriginals, because he told them the truth. Originally applied to the Aboriginals, or, in case he didn't tell you, copper color races, Negro. Found here by the Europeans. So you didn't come from Africa, they found you here, Negro. But now applied to the descendants, the invaders, or the descendants of the invaders, or the descendants of those that are capitalizing off the opportunity made possible by the invaders. And want to act like, well, I'm not the invader, but I sure am capitalizing off this opportunity of treading over the blood of all your chiefs. Since they took down y'all chiefs in Jerusalem here, since they took Jerusalem down, what did, where'd my book go? Where'd my book? Ugh. I don't know if y'all can see that, man. No. There we go. A little bit. It's kind of darkening, Right there. That's that Horace Butler, man. And I love my brother. But, perspective is everything. Perspective is everything. Page 17. There were others who knew the forbidden histories. Even Christopher Columbus knew the secrets. He wrote that South America's Orinoco River flowed out of paradise where Adam and Eve had lived. I was stunned to see that Columbus had promised he would recapture Jerusalem when he reached the Americas. He would recapture Jerusalem when he reached the Americans, the Aboriginals, or copper-colored races that were found here recently by the European invasion, where they poisoned and massacred. And you're about to celebrate it in Thanksgiving. You're giving thanks for the Europeans finding you copper color. If you're copper color and you have never been told by any one of your ancestors that they are African or they came from Africa, you have no clue who you are because you were erased. A native of America originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper color race. If that is you in America, you were found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of the Europeans born in America. They take your title, they take your land. Done. Is it checkmate? Is it checkmate for you? Is it checkmate for me? Is it checkmate for John Stewart?
And so this is the fight that we wage against ourselves and each other, because America is not natural. Natural is tribal. We're fighting against thousands of years of human behavior and history to create something that no one's ever... That's what's exceptional about America, and that's what's... Like, this ain't easy.
It ain't easy. It ain't easy trampling on the bloodshed of the tribes. It ain't easy forming an artificial environment for the first time. A completely artificial melting pot. Now that we've invaded you, we can make a melting pot out of what's left for everybody else to benefit, but we'll just sell it to them, and they got to pay taxes to the London company and to the Queen and all that. But really, they're probably paying taxes to the actual melanated people who never probably left power ever. Yeah, I was going to leave you with something. Who was doing the treaties even before the dumb Diversas? Who's really behind the scenes when they say, oh, the Illuminati, we'll never see them, we'll never see them? Who's that 1%? Who's that boule? what's really going on. I mean, what's really going on, John Stewart? Are we natural? Are you natural? Are the copper color races found here by the Europeans natural?
That hypocrisy is also real in our country. And so this is the fight that we wage against ourselves and each other, because America is not natural. Natural is tribal. We're fighting against thousands of years of human behavior and history to create something that no one's ever... That's what's exceptional about America, and that's what's... Like, this ain't easy. It's an incredible thing.
Stay up, suit up, and choose up. Because when you do, you see the vibration, you see the eyes, you can hear the same stuff they've been talking, the same Trump effect. What effect? What's the Trump? What's the card? And is it checkmate? You are the copper color. You are the indigenous. Don't let them call you unnatural. Only the invader will have an unnatural perspective and create an unnatural environment and be proud of it and call it exceptional. Say, yeah, that's what I want. More of this. Look at the results. We like being at war 95% of the time of the existence of the corporation. We like a little bit having a lot. We like subjugating the tribes so that nature doesn't prevail. Our guns and our disease, our aluminum, our barium. Our law prevails, not the natural creator's law. Not the tribal creator's law. Suit up, my people.
So this is the fight that we wage against ourselves and each other, because America is not natural. Natural is tribal. We're fighting against thousands of years of human behavior and history to create something that no one's ever... That's what's exceptional about America, and that's what's... Like, this ain't easy. It's an incredible thing.